IVM.
Doing stand-up, understanding how to read an audience, and also to be able to see things around you which might seem normal or weird, but really derive conversation and inspiration from all those, I think will just make us better professionals, be it in the space that we're all in the media, entertainment and advertising world, or in general. Having a sense of humor and seeing the humor in things, or being able to segue from point to point, are all things that just will make us better at what we do. Make us make better presentations anyway. And that's why we should know more about a comedian's process. How they write, how they build their narratives, and just create stuff in general. And to dig into that, I have Naveen Richard with me today to show us, what we can learn from the way he does stuff. And talk about how being a comedian with his own special niche is always a strength. And also really talk about how, Bangalore culture, or be it Chennai culture, or be it Bombay culture, are all relevant terms in today's world, because we're all talking to different audiences, and every single audience is hungry for their kind of content. All this and a lot more on this episode of Advertising is Dead. I'm Varun Duggirala, co-founder and corner chief at The Glitch, and we'll be right back with Advertising is Dead.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep, or lose weight, or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on the IVM Podcast app, or ivmpodcast.com, or on your favorite podcasting app.
Welcome back to Advertising is Dead. We're with Naveen, and we were discussing before we came back from this break as to what should we call you. Are you Naveen the writer, the comedian?
The Dragon Slayer is what.
The Dragon Slayer.
Is what.
The Dragon Slayer.
Dragon Slayer.
Naveen the Dragon Slayer. Or the Star Boy.
Oh, the Star Boy. Man, I wish if that had caught on nicely enough, I would have just gone by that for the rest of my life. Yeah.
One of my, I have a top 5 Indian series pieces, and I think Star Boys is in that.
Oh, dude. That's
there's Star Boys, and there's the one which Varun Thakur did, which was
Shaitan
and Haveli, dude. I love that show.
Nice.
So much fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So I know that we discussed before this recording, and I think some people might say, why is Naveen on a show called Advertising is Dead?
Yeah.
And it's mainly because everything's content now. And everything content is writing. And if I had to put all the stuff you do, which is whether it's doing comedy, when it's doing improv, whether it is writing the series that you're doing, everything is writing. And at the end of the day, we need to keep writing more stuff that is relevant for pop culture, for culture, for just general stuff. And have you always written stuff?
Yeah, man. I think ever since the compositions I started writing in 11th standard, it was always funny. And then even
I haven't heard that word composition.
Yeah, right.
Such a
composition, right?
It's a
Bangalore.
Essay. I think it's a Bangalore thing. Composition.
Over here they call it essay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always like some comedy related shit. Even in law college, in my some philosophy paper ended up being something comedy. And man, I don't know if I started performing first or writing first.
Yeah.
But I think they were hand in hand, because I was never one of those guys people would immediately just give me the role for. I mean, you do theatre, so then you can audition for it.
Yeah.
And then once you come out in the real world, you realize you don't have the charisma or the looks or whatever to just keep landing. You need a combination of. So, and also no one was making anything that I wanted to be in, or my friends wanted to be in.
Yeah.
And you go to a boarding school, or in Bangalore, there's a certain different kind of humor that Bombay for sure wouldn't get.
Yeah, and it's so specific, right? And I remember the first time I saw Star Wars, I get this humor. This is what I grew up with.
It's like if it's 7th standard boys wrote a show.
Yeah.
So we were writing that show, and we wrote it in Bangalore on Mosque Road, Old Mosque Road.
Yeah.
And we would ask ourselves, will anyone get this? But we're like, no one else will make this. We need to make this for ourselves. Yeah. So that's
nobody knows what, when you make a joke about Makery Circle, how are you going to
Yeah, we'd say Trinity Circle instead.
Yeah.
So we just so that's the reason I started writing, is because no one else was writing the stuff I wanted to be in.
Yeah. And was comedy always the genre? Was that what?
Yeah, I don't know how to do anything else. I mean, I can
write serious stuff
I can write a serious scene, and I understand serious drama, emotion and stuff, and I would like to write that inside a show.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know, or I'm not interested in writing a whole show about that. But it's important to I like making people kind of weirdly awkward in the middle of a comedy show, though.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, one of the things that we constantly talk about is a dearth of writers, right? And I don't think that's true. I think there are enough writers who have experiences and who want to write about it and want to take references of source material of what they see around them and stuff like that and across. And the more I've interacted with people, I think we look into one small pond. And I'm talking also largely from an advertising standpoint, is that I think India has always written great advertisements. We always had great narratives, all the stuff which was really whether humor, be it emotional, be it anything. You remember a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
And over time, we've forgotten to use that. And I think that there was a phase that we lost to that everything became mechanical in that sense, and we kind of stuck to the pools of, say, Delhi, Bombay writers. But we're a large country, and the consumer now doesn't care if he's watching an ad or he's watching anything else. He wants to see a piece of content he finds exciting.
Yeah.
So when you guys write stuff, and I'm not talking about brands per se, when you write stuff, or when you write with, I know you write sometimes alone by yourself, sometimes with others as well. What's that process like? Where do you figure your source material? How does that?
I don't know. That's the thing. There are days when it depends on what I'm writing. I think the craziest writing schedule, a few months ago.
Yeah.
I might have been working on 3 things. I think we were writing the Star Boys thing that you commissioned.
Yeah.
So in the morning, I would spend an hour writing with Kenny. I would write Star Boys with Kenny at home.
Yeah.
It will be 1 hour there. And then I will go to Sumuki's place and I'd write Pushpavali for 8 hours. No, I'd write BLF for about 8 hours. And then after that, I'd walk over to Sumuki's place and I would write Go Straight Take Left, the sketch show.
Yeah, yeah.
And for about 2 weeks, it's fun. You're like, man, this is the life. This is what I came here for. I can't get enough of this. And then 1 month later, you will get burnt out.
Yeah.
But then what I've realized is, I think for me, the process is fun as long as there's someone fun with you.
Mm-hmm.
Stand-up is the only one that I've always written alone.
Yeah, because it is a very personal thing.
It's
right?
personal.
Yeah.
You just have to go 2 hours early to an open mic and... So I don't know. Tell me which one of these things you want to talk about, and I will talk about that writing process.
No, you can talk about any of them because it's writing at the end of the day. I think which one do you? Okay,
since we are in the brand perspective, I'm wondering. Writing for let's say writing for a web series.
Yeah,
I've written about 4 or 5 seasons of 2-3 different shows. That process is, let's first of all, you spread it out to about 7 months.
Yeah.
You should take at least 7 months off to do something like that. And don't do more than one other thing.
How many times has someone told you that I wanted to write a show in a month?
There have been. First time they came with the Better Life Foundation, they said you have 2 months to write it. And we were like, we are not ever going to get an opportunity, so let's try. Luckily, they kept postponing it by 1 week, and then it became 8 months.
Yeah.
They'd be like, next Monday we'll know. Next Monday we'll know. And we just got strung along. So it takes about 8 months. And then the first 2 months is just writing all your ideas on the board. That's that fun night thing when everything works. Man, look at all the stuff we can do.
Yeah.
So many fun things the NGO can do. And then you start scripting it. And then you'll realize none of those ideas fit in with your story.
Yeah.
So then you start improvising and then... So really that's just to get the ball rolling. When you're writing a web series, just to get the ball rolling and to get warmed up with the juices, you put all these charts on the walls with all these ideas.
Yeah.
And then about 3 months in is when you start really questioning yourself and you go through a crisis and then you hate going to work because that's when you have to figure out the loopholes and figure out everyone's character things.
Yeah.
It's you have some bad days. You're just oh man, again. And then you finish one episode and that takes 1 month of just a mind and then the next day you come and then your board is empty and you have to fill that up again.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Starting with an empty slate is really really something else.
Yeah.
Speaking of brands, we always had to integrate brands. For Better Life, we had to integrate brands in both seasons. Me and my friend Rahul, we the weirder the brand is, the better, because it's more fun to integrate.
As long as I have a sense of humor, right? I think that's
they usually don't.
Yeah,
but they say they do, and then when you give them something funny, they're like, "This is too much."
Yeah, but and I was saying this last week, right? Because we had Gaurav on the show and we were talking about how brands come onto sports content.
Yeah.
And I was telling him I don't think it is about the brand. I think it's about the person. I think on the other side, there's some brand managers in some category who say, okay, man, I want to try this one out. I want to see how that goes. You obviously understand that they have guardrails and they kind of play under that and say, okay, brand can't do this or obviously can't say certain things and stuff. But I think it's also, I don't think it's a generational thing. I think it's more because if you're used to consuming this a certain kind of content, you're normalized to it.
Yeah.
And so you get the humor in it.
Yeah.
If you don't get the humor, but you want to be a part of it, that's the tough sell, right? That's a tough sell on both sides.
It's not necessarily. I've spoken to people my age on the other end of the phone who don't. I mean, a majority of the brand work we've done, they usually get the humor. You know, right now I'm writing like musical songs for an alcohol brand, and they've kind of let us do whatever the hell we want. As long as when we mention the brand, they're like, it's alcohol, don't put a child in it. Yeah. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Yeah. But we've gotten really weird with our sense of humor and they've been okay with that. Yeah. So...
Yeah. Have you seen that change over time? You've been doing this now for...
About 5 years now.
Have you seen...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, have you seen the fact that the openness to do stuff...
I remember when the brand started coming into YouTube. Like, I remember as early as that. I remember when the internet blew up itself was... When I was in Bangalore and sketches started blowing up. This was before stand-up. Yeah. It was first sketches. So all of us were doing sketches. And then when sketches started taking off, I remember, I think Ola would want to come and do a sketch because we did a funny Ola thing. I remember when brands first started coming, then stand-up blew up. Yeah. And then people stopped doing sketches because that's too expensive to produce. And then people would make stand-up comedians. And then Instagram came, so they only were interested in Instagram things. Yeah. So I've seen the evolution. And they've been... more and more chill for sure.
So I have a theory about stand-up, right? Is the fact that I think everybody should do a stand-up workshop. A while ago, and this was a couple of years, damn, we should do it again. A couple of years ago, we had, like Saurabh and Sapan, all these guys came down to our office and we said, okay, let's do a stand-up workshop. And everyone was like, no, we're an agency, you do production, why are you doing this? And at some point you learn how to, have a conversation. Yeah. You learn how to put a point across in
read a room mainly.
Read a room, exactly. Like and also, I think segue.
Oh yeah,
segue is the best thing, right? I think I learned how to segue well,
right?
When I did a workshop, I still follow it now. When and it's so much fun because in your head you're also like fine tuning it, right? You say, okay, someone's talking about this, and you kind of want to move it to a direction, and you're planning 2 steps ahead. It's
correct.
It's like a weird game of chess, although I don't play chess, but it's a very weird game of chess.
There's so many things you kind of, I think mainly reading a room and then being calm when things are going wrong in a room. Knowing that you can handle it, like it teaches you so many things depending on the kind of rooms you do. Yeah. Each room will teach you something different, and hopefully you're like. I mean, the negative to doing stand up is I think you come off a little too cocky and you're always not pessimistic but a little cocky. You go into a boardroom, you're like, these f***ers don't know. I do stand up. These guys don't know what the f*** talk. I know comedy. I've seen it on the streets, man. You come off a little too aggressive, but
I've seen it on Bannerghatta Road. Oh no, nothing is going to be seen on Bannerghatta Road.
Nothing will see that. Yeah.
Also, it's about giving every time I see a really boring PowerPoint presentation, I always imagine how that could have been a lot more fun if the person presenting knew how to do stand up. Right? You're not reading off something because in stand up you can't read off. Yeah, I've seen people who I remember. Early days of watching, and I've never tried it. I've always thought about it. Should I ever go for an open mic? And but when someone tries to read a joke, it's never going to be funny. Right? No matter how much you try. Same if you read a presentation. If you want to, I think today you want to be any kind of professional, right? You have to make presentations. You have to have conversations. You have to do meetings. If you can do stand up, or at least have tried to do stand up, I think you'll be better at all those things.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little weird, but it'll be fun. It'll be
fine.
Better.
I think it'll teach you to like I've done a TED talk with like a presentation. And it was full of jokes, of course. But I was still trying to inspire a bunch of kids. And initially I was like, shit, am I going to remember any of these points? Yeah. As long as you have a picture, you kind of know the narrative of the story.
Exactly.
I messed up the present. I went too far ahead and all of that stuff. But it teaches you to kind of pretend like you know what you're doing. You don't get flustered and you keep moving on.
I did one which was entirely memes.
Nice.
My entire presentation was memes. I literally said, okay, this is if you will not laugh at something I will say, you will laugh at the meme, right?
Oh, yeah. I bet.
So I think the last 2-3, and that's become my thing now. Every time I do a presentation or talk, I just find memes.
Nice.
I recently did one about why everybody should be Batman, and I just found Batman memes. It's great research, right?
Nice.
You're sitting kind of Googling, trying to find Batman
So
memes.
do you write the text up and down, or do you just find the Batman meme?
I actually just find the meme. I'm lazy.
Yeah,
Right? I'm not going
good.
to actually write the
Nice.
joke. Let's not go.
I've never been able to write memes like that. That's something.
Yeah. That's
that moment when you realize, I don't know. I don't know how these people, this meme culture, it's an underground thing. Have you heard about how underground it goes and how they take it so seriously, and they have their own like icons and stuff like that in India itself? I'm saying.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, one of these guys got hired to AIB social media back in the day. This one guy, they had a contest. I don't know what. There's a whole meme culture, because if you on Facebook, there's this. There's like Tamil. There are Tamil Facebook meme pages, and they have a huge following. And someone's got to be spending a lot of time to make these quality, and they are really good memes.
Yeah.
So for them to stand out, there must be 1,000 kids making it, and then really good will stand. So it's very serious, and you'll know who made the meme, and they have their own.
Yeah. And when you're saying subcultures, right, and that's interesting, because I think one of the problems I feel sometimes, and I think we've actually going away from a solution in that sense, is the fact that because things were centered around, let's say, Bombay, and like you moved from Bangalore to here. I was in Bangalore for years, but I would have been a terrible mechanical engineer if I had stayed. You take away from the localness of your content many times. Like how much of your humor is still rooted in Bangalore? That would have gone down now, right?
I don't know if, initially I would try to make it. You go through this period when you move to another city where you're like, initially you come with your material and you sound original and everyone loves you for it. Slowly it kind of starts going away. At least for me, I think it started coming back at least. Or you find a middle. Actually, it depends, man. Now when I go back and do stand-up back in... It depends on the city. If I go do stand-up in like some part in Kerala, I can change my whole accent for the freaking city. My Chennai accent is different from my Mallu accent.
What is your Chennai accent?
I'll just be like, so what? Oh, then big chap, you think you are, like that, which is a little more Bangalore actually, and my Mallu accent, just the references change and things like that. But definitely, when you feel at home when you go back there.
Because, we forget how diverse we are, right, as a country, and people are consuming content across the country in different ways. Like I'm Gult, right? So when I try to find funny stuff in Telugu, which I don't enough because I've been away for too long. I find the fact there's so many different things happening, and I have a cousin who actually does stuff on Instagram, which I find supremely funny because she actually she plays different characters. She she does dialogues and stuff like that, and she's been doing that for a while, and she's got a decent following. And I look at the fact that what is focused on a certain area, let's say what's focused in a certain market and so on and so forth, and when you want to reach those, consumers or the audiences, they'll relate to that. And in trying to make stuff that is wide ranging and I would hate to use the word massy, but I would say like national, sometimes that gets lost. I like, for me, that's the future. Regional is the future. Yeah,
no, absolutely. That is. I've seen a lot of comedians just go back to their mother tongue and sell way more tickets. They're like, why was I even trying to do English this whole time? So those of us who are stuck with English are like a little screwed, maybe. Now we're having to sell tickets for shows saying all English stand-up show, which is never the case. That was assumed back then. But definitely the more regional you get, the more suddenly your audience grows. It's ironic that your audience grows rather than shrinks.
And it's also like how television was, right? I remember the early days of television when I worked in it. Actually, before I worked in television, English is like the gateway drug, right? It's like how I think every medium starts off with English. Right? Be it print, be it TV, and then it suddenly blends into so many other things. Is that tricky to deal with? As someone who's putting out content constantly,
it's that's the thing, man. It's both good and bad. If you get very regional, you can't come to, let's say, Delhi. You can't sell tickets in Delhi. Then every, let's say, Tamilian in Delhi will come and watch you, and you can sell it out. I know comedians who go all around the world, and that region's people will come and sell it out.
That's true.
And if you're fine with that, you're fine with that. You should be okay with that, because technically you're doing your job, you're getting paid to do something that you love, and you're speaking the language that you grew up with. So I don't know, it depends on your own goal. Like for my goal is to reach the world. Like that's always been my, I'm like, I want to reach every language. It's true, you could always reach the whole world even making a foreign language film.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think in English, so I don't know.
I think a lot of us do, and
Yeah.
and maybe I think that's also an Indian thing. I think I can't think of any other country which has English medium school as a term.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. I don't know if that's a thing somewhere else, but I
wonder.
Yeah, think about it. English medium school.
English
We've
medium
never really
school.
put that out there. First language, second language.
That's true. The number of languages and stuff, and yet, the people will go back. I mean, you can speak English, but then I know someone who, if they speak, it's the language they speak at home that they truly connect with.
Yeah.
So that's why even Star Boys, you say, is because at the end of the day, you're a Bangalore guy at heart.
Yeah.
So that's why you get.
And Bangalore's English, right? Predominantly, everybody who's been in school or study, they do predominantly think in English, and you speak. You just add a "duh" at the end of things, or a "duh," or depending on which part of Bangalore you're from.
Correct.
The "duh" versus a "duh."
Yeah. I'm trying to spread the dark culture here. I mean, after Star Wars, all the editors in the editing room, even who weren't editing this, were trying to practice their das and stuff. I'm like, you'll get it.
So in Andhra, we say "ra," right?
Yeah.
So when I moved from Andhra to, I'm from a place called Kakinada, it's on the coast,
I've heard of it.
I moved from Kakinada to Bangalore. I used to say, I would predominantly want to say "ra" after a sentence, right? And everyone's saying "duh."
Yeah.
Also because we have
it's
Vaira, Vaida. Yeah, so
Correct.
and it's interesting how it's a weird blend. I think we're all weird blends. Like we're in Bombay now. If I look at me, I'm Telugu, then Bangalore, then Pune, then Bombay. I use as much Bombaya Hindi as I would use Telugu randomly sometimes, and you mix it all up, and and I don't even know how my daughter's going to speak, because my daughter's like, she part hears Marathi, she part hears Hindi, there's sporadic Telugu from me. Or
if she's smart enough, she'll be able to grow up distinguishing, and she'll speak 6 different languages.
And the force is strong with her because her name is Leia, so I'm just
nice.
Yes. I throw that in from time to time, just like.
But this thing that got me thinking, I've been thinking of this thing about, I think, bringing, if you do want to reach a larger stage, I think it's important you know where your humor comes from and stick to that, because then you'll have an original voice.
Yeah.
Like one of the people who inspired me to do that was like when Taika Waititi went and made Thor, and you're like, this is a very unique sense of humor. And suddenly, for the first time after a long time, I saw an American whatever movie that found like
it wasn't a templatized.
It wasn't. It was like
movie.
It stopped being funny after Adam McKay stopped making like a few movies. Like the Will Ferrell, and then Will Ferrell movies stopped being funny because they became very formulaic
and caricaturish.
And you're like, now you guys are just yelling. There's no script.
Yeah.
I know all the new Jumanji and all. I can just tell they went on set with a rough thing. Like, these guys are funny. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's not like how it's.
Hey, you can't go wrong with putting Dwayne Johnson and.
You can't. But then it's so loose. I get so pissed off every time I think about it. But then I finally saw Thor, and I'm like, this is. And even Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I'm like, this looks like effort was put into the jokes, and there's this. So then I went and watched Taika Waititi stuff after, like, What We Do in the Shadows, and then I went and watched his older movies, and I realized there's a very New Zealandy sense of humor. Flight of the Conchords and stuff. I'm like, this is very unique. They brought that voice, and everyone likes that it's fresh. So I want to take whatever is our sense of humor. I don't know if it'll end up being a Bangalore sense of humor or a Tamil or a Malayalam, because India as a whole doesn't have one sense of humor. It'll be a little too broad. But for, like, instance, Tamilians, they can just rhyme 2 words and make a joke out of it. Like, say, food panda cooked food vanda and solla, something like that. They have a sense of humor. Malayalis might be a little more dark. Bangalore's a little more silly. So if I can take that and put in a movie that the whole world might want to consume, they will appreciate that, I think.
And the weird part is, if you think about it, one of the kinds of movies I see people up north consuming the most are South Indian movies dubbed in Hindi.
Okay.
You just go to YouTube, look at the trending videos. You will always find a South Indian movie that is dubbed in Hindi, which is always trending.
Like the massy loud ones.
Yeah. And random ones. Like, I'm like, this is dubbed in Hindi, and you won't even like make any sense. So So we have this conversation all the time, right? We talk to brands, and we talk to the people in our own office, saying that there were certain rules in how you communicated stuff, where it was very clear in terms of and we obviously have more access to data now than we ever did. But at the end of the day, it's they're also like smaller human experiences. And they differ from place to place. And it can't necessarily be. And so, like, I was having a conversation the other day about the new Uber Eats campaign, right? what I liked was the fact that the Tinda thing is I think a North Indian thing largely. But if you went down south, they use different terms. I forget what.
Is this the ad where Alia bought?
Yeah.
Oh, I auditioned for the Tamil version of that.
Really?
yeah. I was supposed to get Dulkar on the other one. Anyway,
Yeah, but they use a different term. So Tinda, I didn't know what Tinda was.
Yeah, I read the Tamil script. I can't remember what term they used.
And I saw someone shared the fact they actually use different things, which is interesting, right?
Yes.
You're not just making it's not a copy paste or it's not just a translation. And the biggest, I think, conversation in advertising right now, especially around agencies like ours, is to say that how can we keep making content? And when I say content, I use it loosely. It could be something you're putting up on social, could be a video you're creating, could be something that is just culturally relevant.
Yeah.
Either you make something that's sweeping across all audiences, or are you going to be creating multiple versions of it, different adaptations of it? In some cases, just make a different thing for each piece, because you make so many things like.
I think you'll have to, I don't know, man. I mean, because now, just because of technology, the reason that there's so much, I think those days there were really good ads, you remember, because there were maybe 10 ads that came out in the year, because just how much effort that would go into make one ad. Now,
that's true.
You can make as many as you want and it gets lost. And that makes me think also the kind of pop culture references our kids will grow up with, they're not going to have the same. They're going to be like, hey, you saw that ad on the YouTube? They'll be like, no, I don't know. I was watching another I was watching Netflix and you were watching Amazon growing up. They might not even be the same.
They might not be
culture
watching the same stuff, so for instance, you always try to be with what platforms are there.
Yeah.
Right? And I say this, that a year ago, I'd never heard a podcast, a little over a year ago. And now I've been doing this, and I've really understood what this medium can really do.
Yeah.
Similarly, the other day, someone introduced me, and I'd heard of it, but I never went. I got introduced to Twitch.
Yeah, the gaming thing.
Yeah, so it's we know it as a gaming thing, right? And it's a video platform of people watching other people play games.
Yeah.
Which in its sense sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
But then I just downloaded it. So I want to see what this is, right? The same way how I downloaded TikTok and I wanted to see what that was. And TikTok is supremely entertaining because I think that I feel you haven't been on TikTok?
No.
So TikTok is this platform where people are, they're so you have, let's say there's a dialogue or a movie, or there is a song. People are actually dancing and singing, like literally doing, they're creating content, like general people.
Okay.
It's like a video platform which is there, and it's crazy how many people are creating stuff.
YouTube, but not.
It's like what Dub Smash would have been if Dub Smash was a social network.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
cool. So
and these are all these things which are coming up, which we like. I heard about something recently called Bigo Live.
Motherfucker, what the
Yeah. So Bigo Live is not even a tier 1 city thing. It's a tier 2 city thing.
Yeah.
Where basically the longer you just lots of live streams.
Yeah.
As long as you keep interacting with people and they keep watching you get points. If you get points, then you can exchange that for coupons to buy stuff on e-com. So they're random people sitting and doing, like, just talking.
Cool. These things scare me. I don't know why I hear them and they scare me.
And because, we think about YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, but there are these things there. And Twitch was bizarre because I'm like, why would I watch someone play games?
Yeah.
Then, okay, if I'm a gamer, I want to see how someone else plays the game, so I at least understand. Then I realized I went deeper into it and I found that people are actually discussing shows they watch.
Right.
They're discussing some other content they've consumed.
Yeah.
And it's slowly expanding. And I said, okay, who owns Twitch?
Yeah.
And I realized that Amazon acquired them a couple of years ago.
Ah.
So now I'm thinking, okay, man, this is like crazy, right? So the bizarreness is, I don't think we'll ever know all the platforms that are available.
No.
So we can never tweak it to all the...
So, I mean, even as you as a company, how far deep down are you going to go and which audience are you going to cater? Or are you going to wait to see if this platform survives long enough for you to give them any attention?
Yeah.
Right?
I think there are three parts to it. Right? One part is what's traditionally always been there.
Yeah.
I don't think television is going away anytime soon. I think print has its place.
Yeah.
That's how I like to put it. Print has its place.
Yeah.
And what we use now is, I think, like what was Facebook before is now Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram is what everyone goes to.
Correct.
Twitter is where you go for news, weirdly enough.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
Twitter and WhatsApp are our news networks, which is scary and good. I don't know what to call it. And YouTube. And YouTube is like television now for us, right? Because we know what channels you want to subscribe to. We hopefully will get enough curation.
Yeah.
But there's so much content, right? The problem, I think we're in content max.
We are
We've
absolutely.
reached like it's.
I'm waiting for it to topple. I'm wondering what kind of phoenix will emerge from the ashes of this mess. I'm curious, and I hope we're ready for it. And I hope some young kids don't grab it, which it might happen.
You know what I think, but I'm also a firm believer that what will come out of it will still be good content that will do.
It has to be. You know who's on YouTube now is Jack Black.
Yeah.
Have you seen his YouTube channel?
No.
He started this gaming channel, right? It's called Jablinski Games, and so he just put up this 129-second video saying, "I'm going to start a gaming channel, and it's going to be awesome." And he got 2 million subscribers. They're like, Jack Black's doing games, but for like weeks he kept saying, man, my computer's not working. So this week I'm just going to go to the dentist. So he's just vlogging. But it's Jack Black, and it's so much fun. And I never thought I would like a vlog, but I'm like, this guy is genuine and he's fun. He's figured himself out. He's gone through life, and now he's being himself as opposed to young people. So I'm like,
my favorite YouTube channel right now is Will Smith. Right, I cannot get over what he does.
You got to check out Jack Black. Is like he's like your friend. Like Will Smith will have a whole crew.
Yeah.
Jack Black says him and his iPhone. It's a lot of fun. I couldn't get through Will Smith.
Yeah.
I'm like, Will Smith, you're still being Will Smith.
Yeah.
And I bet you have makeup on right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Jack Black's just him and his kids.
Yeah, and that's why I don't blame brands. I'll be honest. Now imagine that you're in this space. We kind of dabble in this space.
Yeah.
Brands have the stuff there. So there is the marketing part of it, but they also like brands have to make products and sell them and figure all of that stuff out. To stay in tune with what's changing, it's like every day something new is coming up, right? You don't know what's going. Like, what is Bigo Live? Like really? Like I didn't know what that was. I saw it. I'm like, what is this? And then very weirdly I saw it, and I got Bigo Live pre-roll ads for the next like year.
Oh,
which is weird. Yeah,
they got your info, man.
some random lady saying, "Bhaiya, aap se baat karoge," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to." Like, skip now, skip. So I was like,
wow.
So I don't blame them. I think what is really lacking is someone who's kind of turning around saying, "When this is all that's happening, you don't have to do everything."
Yeah.
This is what your brand stands for. And this is what values you have, as it is with any kind of content, right? What are the values that a piece of content holds? Better Life Foundation, phenomenal show, right? I love every part of it.
Appreciate.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be on every platform.
Yeah.
Like, would you have a Bigo Live version of? No. Like,
No.
Would you have a...
I wanted it, we knew where we wanted it to be.
Exactly.
We're like, this is where our audience will be watching it, and we would like it for it to be on that platform for sure. Yeah. Like some platform came and said, would you like to put BLF on this? And we were like, I don't know if our audience is going to be there.
Yeah.
Or our audience loves us enough to subscribe to that thing. So we're also sure of that. Yeah.
I want to dig into this a little bit more, but before we do that, I'm just going to take a teeny tiny break, and we'll be right back with Advertising is Dead.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please make sure that you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Just a couple of notes up front. One is that we're still running our listener survey. That's ivmpodcast.com/survey. The survey is only going to run till the end of the week. So if you want a chance to win that awesome mug that we're giving out, please make sure that you fill out that survey. Also, I wanted to put out a quick reminder that if you're enjoying what you're listening to, please take a screenshot of what you're listening to, tag us on Instagram, and we'll put that in our story so that everybody else can see what you're listening to. Also, please don't forget to put in a comment. On The Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma is joined by author Tony Joseph, who talks about his acclaimed book, Early Indians. They deep dive into the Harappan times and how ancient history is never as simple as it seems. On Advertising is Dead, Varun's guest is comedian and writer Naveen Richard. They talk about the source material for writing comedy, the web series Better Life Foundation, meme culture, and tongue cleaners. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by Rahul Jain, head of Edelweiss Personal Wealth Advisory. They talk about wealth management and his future in India. On Paperback, Anirudh Kanisati joins Satyajit and Rachita to reflect on how archaeology led to the creation of many rituals. On Know Your Qanoon, Amber Rana is in conversation with Abha Singh, and they discuss legal procedures involved in crimes against women. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
Welcome back to Advertising is Dead. We've been talking about writing for a while now, and writing is also about source material, right? Like you need to notice stuff around you. You need to kind of derive stuff from things which normally people like, why are you even focusing on that?
Yeah.
How did your source material thought process work? Like how do you?
Well, you can't try too hard to always look. You kind of have to chill a bit, and then suddenly it'll hit you. But also, that said, at the back of your head. Sometimes, for instance, if you're writing, I think it's important to immerse yourself in the genre that you're writing. Let's say you're spending 6-7 months writing a web series.
Yeah.
It's hard, and you should let that consume your mind a little, so that when you go home and you're showering, there are ideas for that coming.
Yeah.
So for me, 3 months into writing a web series, I stopped getting stand-up ideas. Very rarely, like it comes more rare. And then more, I look at observational stuff and I think of how to include that back in the show.
Yeah.
And then for me, I like to
do you like take notes? And
I've got like a Google Keep thing.
Ah.
I have different colors. I have like yellow means all stand-up ideas. Blue is probably for web series. Then I also have a small notebook. Then I have a slightly larger notebook. Then I have another diary, which is another thing. I don't know if this is more organized.
And sometimes you forget where you wrote what, but you're like, oh, I wrote something, I forgot what it was.
I kind of have an idea. Like, so I think it's important, to immerse yourself in that field for at least a few days before your mind starts working in that direction.
Yeah.
For stand-up, you kind of have to just go through life. But for stand-up, you really have to go through the experiences of life. You can't only just be doing. You can't just wait all day in your room and then go do your open mic. You have to kind of let life happen to you.
Yeah.
And the shittier your life is, the funnier your set is going to be.
Yeah.
The more stupid things happen to you. That's how it is with stand-up.
But I think it's a more healthy form of, from what I would say, traditionally what people thought rock stars went through. Right? Rock stars need to be really like up to be able to like write great songs. But I think you just need to have a weird outlook in life to, or rather an unconventional outlook in life to do stand-up.
Yeah, it's a combination of both an unconventional outlook plus just letting things happen to you. And then when it happens, you take notice. Because shit happens to all of us. It's just that it's about being observant. And it's about noticing the patterns. With stand-up, it's noticing a pattern and being like, hey, this has happened enough times for me to think other people.
Yeah.
That's one way. The other way is, of course, if something really weird happens to you, then that's a unique. And that's so comedians nowadays have two approaches. Some people are like, observational jokes, anyone can observe.
Yeah.
But a personal story, no one else can come up with. So I'm going to go with the personal story thing.
Yeah.
So it really depends on. I'm more of an observational plus shit thing. I don't know. I'm all over the place.
You don't have to be in a bucket.
You don't have to. I'd rather not people like define, because once they define you, you're stuck.
But do you look at different platforms in a different way in terms of where you source stuff from? Where would you like draw inspiration from?
I sometimes think like the other day, 2 days ago, I was sitting and writing I was wondering what. I haven't put out these Uncle Francis, this character. I haven't put out that stuff in a while. And I miss doing that. So I was walking around my house. And sometimes when I don't have an idea, I will look for props to use. So one day I found a lightsaber in the house. I said, I will unbox the lightsaber. Then I was like, man, I need something else to spark off inspiration. And I realized I have a tongue cleaner. And I bought a new tongue cleaner. And then a friend asked me, and there was a different kind of tongue cleaner. I'm like, okay, I'm going to review tongue cleaners with Uncle Francis. Makes sense. So that's one thing. But that said,
did you find the weird one which is there now have, which is not the one we used to bend? This thing, it's like
it's
a stick. Which has that weird.
Yes, that's the one I use.
Triangular shaped thing on top, and you're like, this is like a product. I think the earlier one was better for the brands because it would break and you would have to buy a new one. This stick thing,
this is unbreakable, dude. I've been using it for months. It's turning black at the bottom, but I'm like, it's not breaking. Then I bought a copper one in the supermarket just for nostalgia's sake. So now I have 3 tongue cleaners. The
copper ones are dangerous though. Like copper ones, I sometimes feel like
sharp.
It's
a bit sharp.
Yeah,
you can cut your tongue off.
Again, I think are tongue cleaners an Indian thing? I think they are an Indian thing. I've never seen like...
Really? They only use dental floss, which is not an Indian thing. No one's ever flossed their dents. In India. No one's ever done that. So, but that said also, sometimes like... Then I was doing an Uncle Francis and I'm running out of ideas. Then I thought of an old stand-up bit which never worked.
Yeah.
And then I did it as Uncle Francis. So... When you have a whole bank, I was also sometimes you write songs and we're like, oh, we need to get the ball rolling. It's all about getting that ball rolling. And when you have like 70 ideas, you find an observational bit that you did a stand-up and you try to do it as a song. So, I mean, doing this many things, I don't know. They say pick one thing and go after it as hard as you can. I don't know. I have fun doing all of these things, so it's fine.
A lot of times, people reach out, right? And I was talking to this boy the other day, and he was saying, "I want to write." And I said, "What do you want to write?" And he was like, "I just want to write." And I'm like, "No, do you want to write like?" And you tend to put them in buckets. Do you want to write for advertising? Do you want to write for a publication? Do you want to write for a series? He's like, "No, I just want to write. I don't mind trying everything." And I think that's actually how everyone starts and saying this is where I'm going to really kick off from and go and evolve and we don't do that enough, I feel. Sometimes we over technicalize it before we get into it.
But then I understand where he's coming from. He's just like, I just feel like, well then, has he written anything? Have you written, what's most accessible to you is a pen and a paper and your life. So then write that. Do you like I grew up, before stand-up came along, I grew up watching TV shows and I said, I want to make a TV show, and that's what I want to do. So my goal was always to figure out everything about TVs, making a show and editing and everything. So it really depends. I'm like, what sparked off his inspiration for writing? Was it because he watched TV? Is it because he saw stand-up? Where did your initial inspiration come from? Try to copy that. Even try to copy that style initially, so at least you figure out the structure of it. So just figure out what inspired you to write and do that at least, as opposed to doing nothing.
But it's the best time to be a writer now, right? The options are so much more.
So much. But at the same time, I see I know comedians who want to get into this kind of media writing and stuff. At least they're writing stand-up. And then they want to get into media. I'm like, have you written a script? How do I hire you? Only on the basis of your stand-up. I need to know if you can write dialogue.
Can write narrative, right?
Write a narrative. The dialogue writing is another thing I think a lot of people lack now, is learning how to write natural dialogue. And for that, I don't know, watch Glengarry Glen Ross or something, Learn how to write dialogue there.
Or Kader Khan, if that's your reference, which is mine. I don't know.
Oh, nice. Glengarry Glen Ross, I tried to do it as a play. Then I read the script. I'm like, wow, this is good dialogue.
We do this thing at the end of every episode, right? Which we call it Humans of Advertising. And we ask this, it's our own bizarre form of the Coffee with Karan.
What is this, some kind of rapid fire? Oh no.
It's a rapid fire.
Okay, cool, man.
What can you whip up in an instant?
Food?
Food, drink,
okay.
anything. Alcoholic, non-alcoholic, food.
I make some weird food, man. I can make you a freaking mashed. It's good. I'm already thinking about it. I'm talking about some muesli, right? I'm gonna put some yogurt in it. I'm gonna put some chikus, some bananas. I'm gonna put some kind of like a chocolate powder in that shit. I'm gonna mix it up. It's gonna be gooey. It's gonna be like baby food, but it's gonna taste so good. It's kind of it's basically stoner food when I think about it. But you don't have to be stoned to enjoy it. That's my specialty. Most people think it looks like puke, but when you put it in your mouth, it's tasty puke.
But that's what muesli is so weird, right? It's just I don't get the muesli.
I like it if you put it in the right texture.
Muesli for me feels like you get the Madras mix
mixture.
Yeah, it's like mixture, right? It's just like breakfast mixture
without the spice.
Yeah.
You need to know how to handle muesli, and I figured it out over the years. It's the right combination.
Just add all these things to it.
Put all of the shit in it.
What are you reading?
I'm reading Homo Deus, which is Homo sapiens, the first one, the Homo Deus.
I couldn't finish the first book.
I never read the first one. I just got into the second one.
The first one, I have the audio book. It puts me to sleep. It's my nighttime. Do I really want to go to sleep with this nice peaceful voice?
I heard it's good, but this one again, it gives you a good perspective on humanity. And I'm like, this is he's also figuring out patterns, and that's our job as well. I'm like, this is really good patterns. I'm like, first of all, we're
this
not
source
as big
material.
as we think. And it also helps you zoom out and not take life so seriously.
That's true.
I keep saying, everyone who gets into a fight on Twitter and loses themselves in it. I say, man, just all you have to do, if you can just go to space and look at how insignificant you are, and it teaches you a lot about also pursuing the wrong thing. This is not at all a rapid fire, I know.
No, that's okay.
I
guess it's our form of a rapid, which is not really rapid, but it's just like.
It teaches you that you could become as famous, the most famous guy in the world. And then no one's gonna remember you 200 years from now. So who's there to enjoy this shit?
That's true.
I don't know.
Aliens.
No one's gonna remember.
Cockroaches.
Like Genghis Khan, you remember now, and he was famous when there was no social media, and he slept with everyone basically. Now you can become the most famous guy, and no one's gonna remember you. It's only gonna decrease. And So it teaches
it's
you
depressing, man.
That book is depressing. It's like that. Some of these YouTube channels that come out nowadays that just depresses you.
Yeah.
Makes you feel insignificant.
Yeah. It's just motivational videos that have random people's voiceovers. I'm like, no, I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts?
I listen to some comedy podcasts every once in a while, like my favorite comedians talking to see what their writing process is like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Again, that's just to figure out I don't care if it's more like for an interview.
Yeah.
Like you watch Monty Python and their writing process, and you're like, holy shit, they were not having fun at all.
Yeah.
There was
Hardcore.
That looked terrible. Like you guys hated each other most of the time. And then I'm like, all right, fine. We had a few fights today, but Monty Python did too, so it's okay.
Yeah. What's the worst thing you could ever do as a comedian?
The worst thing you can do?
You can do as a comedian. What is the worst thing, like according to you, that you could do as a comedian?
On stage or...
Anything, like just generally. What is like please don't do that. Like,
generally, they say punching down, but even punching down can be kind of funny sometimes if you have the right audience. The worst thing you can do is just be unfunny and be unaware and like, I don't know, like not being self-aware. That's the worst thing is if you go on and then it's okay to be determined and be like, I will make this work. Yeah. But then you have to acknowledge when you're shit. You know?
Fair.
Yeah. That keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
Not being grounded also, I think.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Naveen.
Oh, yeah.
This has been super
man.
fun. Mainly because, and one of the reasons, and I'm going back to the first thing we started with when we were talking, right? You're saying, like, this is a show about advertising, but everything is writing, and it's important we understand the process of a modern writer, and that's what you are, and you're modern writer creator. I think modern writer creator.
That's the one, man.
That's your.
We have come full circle.
Full circle.
And we have completed the hero's journey in this.
Yes. Oh, no.
There we go.
Yeah, hero's journey. I actually didn't know that till a couple of years ago. I did a random online course. I'm like, oh, finally I understand this hero's journey.
Even I found only like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. Too much technical.
Those are the when you start applying that in your web series, that's when you want to shoot yourself. Like, you remind yourself these things exist.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, man.
And that's it for this episode of Advertising is Dead.
Hey, this is Shizaditya Mukhopadhyay.
And I'm Amit Doshi.
And we host Shunya One, the weekly podcast based on conversations about startups, entrepreneurship, across verticals like food tech or fintech, and digital payments, logistics, e-commerce, and of course, all the stuff from VCs and investors as well.
Over the course of our run, we've had some really great entrepreneurs. We've had Zishan Hayat from Topper, Naya Sagi from Baby Chakra, Ankush Sachdev from ShareChat, and Akrit from Haptic, among many, many more.
Yep, and we continue to get some of the biggest, smartest, and most innovative folks in the country in this space coming here, talking to us, all for you guys to listen to.
So tune in every Tuesday on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts from, and get a chance to be a part of all of the tech banter and entrepreneurship conversations on our Slack channel. Talk to our guests, they show up as well. All you have to do is request an invite on ivmpodcast.com/Shunya1.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the scene and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that their insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.